Thank you, madam, and also thank you, Dinesh, for giving me this opportunity. And I would like to share my uh, screen.
Okay.
Possible?
Yes, yes.
I hope you can
Yeah,
see it.
yeah, he's wonderful.
Right.
So maybe you can go to slideshow.
Okay. Yeah. Uh, I'm trying. Yeah. Okay. Now, this is the map of Sri Lanka, and in fact, the this year's theme of the world, the International Mountain Day is biodiversity. So, very briefly, I'll touch upon biodiversity, and also there's a little bit of connection with COVID also. I will say a few words about the COVID situation in Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka is a very small island, about 65,000 square kilometers, with 21 million population. We at the moment we have about 30,000 infected COVID patients. Of course, 22,000 of them actually left the hospital. They got cured. At the moment, there are about 8,000 patients warded in different parts of the country in different hospitals, and also unfortunately 146 deaths due to COVID has been reported in Sri Lanka, and our country is doing. I mean, the government is trying very hard to control the situation, and luckily, the mountain areas are not that seriously affected. Most of the cases are reported from the western province near Colombo, Gampaha, and coastal areas. The central highlands, as you can see here, have not been seriously affected. The mountain region of Sri Lanka is very rich in biodiversity and also included in the global 200 ecoregions by the WWF, and also it was nominated, or it was declared as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. I'm going to be very brief because I cut while the meeting was progressing. In fact, I reduced most of my slides. Recently, we did a study to see how the endemic angiosperms are distributed in Sri Lanka. We did a analysis with some data collected during the 2012 National Red List Survey, and using several indices, I was able to recognize 9 endemic areas within Sri Lanka: Central Highlands, Southwestern wet zone, which is here, Northern Highlands, Eastern Highlands. This one is called Ritikala, and that's Dolukanda. Now, these are actually mountains. The ones that are marked in red color are mountains, and the other endemic areas, other 4 endemic areas are in the low country. So as you can see, out of the 9 endemic areas, 5 are in the mountains. And also within those 9 endemic areas, I found 5 endemic areas which are very rich in endemics. These are like very concentrated, very heavily loaded with endemics. So those are again mostly in the mountain areas. 4 of them are in the mountains, and only one in the low country wet zone, one here, Singaraja rainforest. So all these are actually in the mountains. And then we can see a topography here, satellite image. These are mountains areas. Here also in the southwest, a few mountains. So as you can see, these are the mountainous areas, which are rich in diversity. And we found that about 77% of the endemics are found in Central Highlands, about 59% found in, 48% of the endemics found in Northern Highlands, 26 Eastern Highlands, Itigala and Dolu. They are also very rich in endemics. And then in some of those mountains have species endemics that are restricted only to those mountains. For example, Central Highlands have about 106 species which are found only in Central Highlands. Similarly, Northern Highlands has 28 species restricted. 4 species are restricted to Eastern Highlands, and Ritigal Mountain, Dolukanda also have 3 and 2 species restricted to those respectively. So as you can see, the mountains are very rich in the biodiversity. In fact, more than 50% of all our endemics are found within the mountainous area. Now, of the key endemic or the co-endemic areas, again you can see Adams Peak has 57%, Horton Plains 34%, Knuckles Peak 33%, and Candy 23%. So most of these endemic areas are in the mountain zone or the in the mountains, and then they are very rich in endemics. And then again, I did a similar study to see how the threatened species are distributed. This was done actually using some GIS analysis. We actually divided Sri Lanka into grids, 5 by 5 kilometer grids, about 2,800 grids. And then within that, now the endemism, endemic areas are recognized using weighted endemism index, and the same method was used to recognize the areas with high number of threatened plants, and we found something similar. As you can see, the darker color grids denote the areas rich in threatened plants, and then the lower the paler colors show the areas which are not that rich in threatened plants. So if you overlay areas with high number of threatened plants and areas with high number of endemics, you can get this kind of map. So I mean, as Norman Meyer mentioned in 2000 in his seminal paper appeared in Nature about the biodiversity hotspots, where he considered areas with very high diversity or endemism and very serious threats, degree of threats to the ecosystems. And if you have high threats and high endemism, those areas have been declared as biodiversity hotspots. In fact, Sri Lanka, along with the Western Ghats in India, have been described or recognized as a biodiversity hotspot. In fact, in the original paper, where he found Norman Meyer recognized 25 biodiversity hotspots, Sri Lanka was one of them. And then he also selected 8 very important hotspots, and Sri Lanka was among that 8 also. So even within Sri Lanka, as you can see here, mountain areas, so mountainous areas are very rich in diversity. So there are several threats, of course, the habitat destruction, cutting down forests and various ecosystems for various purposes, human settlements, various other activities are going on. And of course, there are other indirect threats like invasive alien species, and then pollution and various other factors, various other drivers causing ecosystem change. And of course, climate change is also an overriding factor. We see over the years there are very serious reductions in some parts of the mountain zone. Although Dr. Professor Corner mentioned that mountains are safe, but that may be in the alpine or very high areas. But at least in the tropical mountains, we see a lot of threats. In fact, the upper mountain rainforest in Sri Lanka is reduced to only 3,000 hectares. Sub-mountain areas are little larger, about 65,000 hectares. So there are a lot of interesting biologically important species, plant species, animal species, endemic genera, both plants and animals found in those areas. So I think on this day of International Mountains, in which the biodiversity is the theme, I think we should pay a little bit more attention to the conservation of biodiversity, and even under this COVID pandemic. Thank you very much.